Zachitika kuti zachitika nthawi zanji kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani musakhale nawo gulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko mwanu momwe zisamakuphonyeni.
Shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Kukulandirani kwina kulikonse kumene muli pano pa Malawi Daily Headlines pomwe mungapeze nkhani zomwe zangochitika kumene mdziko mwathu muno, ndipo pano titsimikize kunena kuti takutengerani mu mzinda wa Lilongwe ku Parliament komwe kuli Commission of Enquiry yomwe ikufufuza za ngozi ya ndege yomwe inachitika ku Chikangawa. Takhani pomwepo pamene inu muti mumve satane wa nkhani yonse komanso momwe zikukhalira ku Parliament. Ngati mwangotipeza kumene tapangani subscribe komanso like kuti update ina iliyonse isamakuphonyeni. Zayambatu chonchi ku Parliament mu mzinda wa Lilongwe.
Shall be the truth,
The whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Once again, Honorable Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, welcome to the hearing of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee inquiring into the tragic aircraft accident of 10th June 2024 at Ntunga, which claimed the lives of the former Vice President, Dr. Saulos Klaus Chilima, and 8 others. The committee, as you are well aware, was established by a resolution of Parliament to conduct a thorough, independent and transparent investigation. Our mandate is to conduct a fresh inquiry with a view to establishing facts, understanding what happened, and making recommendations to Parliament in the interest of truth, clarity, accountability, and the prevention of future tragedies. The objective of us summoning you, Honorable Minister of Justice, this morning is to enlighten the committee on the gaps, inconsistencies, and irregularities that government had identified, necessitating a fresh inquiry by Parliament. These hearings will be conducted in accordance with the standing orders of Parliament and the laws of Malawi. Committee members will ask questions to witnesses who are obliged to respond accordingly. I remind you, Honorable Minister, that you are protected by Parliament for the evidence you're going to give in good faith. As per your oath that you have sworn here in Parliament a few minutes ago, you are required to answer questions truthfully and fully. Honorable members of the Ad Hoc Committee will now proceed with asking you the relevant questions after you have explained and enlightened to us the gaps and inconsistencies, any irregularities and anomalies that you had identified that have led to the formation and establishment of the Commission of Enquiry. So I hand over to you, Honorable Minister, that you may begin explaining the reasons why the Ad Hoc Committee was set up to inquire into the aircraft crash that happened at Ntunga. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the Ad Hoc Committee. Let me also thank the entire membership of the committee for inviting me to testify and speak to the committee this morning. I deeply appreciate the honor that you have granted to me to come and speak to the committee. I don't take it for granted. Chairperson and members of the committee, when I received the invitation, it asked me if I could put in writing my responses as well. I want to say that for consistency's sake, because I'm the one who was tasked by His Excellency the President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, State President of the Republic of Malawi, as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, to review the reports which were made available to me and make recommendations to His Excellency for further direction on this matter. For that reason, and for me to be consistent in what I advise His Excellency the President, I will also give the same advice, the same findings that I gave to the President to this committee for your further action. You will recall, Honorable Chairperson and members, that I was also asked by members of Parliament, in particular, the Member of Parliament for Mwaza Central, and the Member of Parliament for Lilongwe Mpeno, if my memory serves me well, under Standing Order 69, when Parliament was in session, and I did respond in the chamber, and my responses were documented and part of the answers. For purposes of consistency and to give respect and decorum to this committee, I also refer to the answers on what I said in response to the questions which were put to me in the chamber. And the responses which I gave are the same that informed His Excellency the President, Professor Thapita Mutharika, to request the Right Honourable Speaker of the National Assembly to impanel an ad hoc committee to investigate further into the matters of the plane crash that happened on the 10th June 2024 at Ntungwa. With your permission, therefore, Chairperson, if you may permit me to refer to the report which I submitted to His Excellency the President, as well as to refresh my memory on what I said in Parliament when I was asked. I should say, Honourable Chairperson and all members, that I am not a witness of facts, in that I may not say in my capacity as Minister of Justice that I saw this happen or I witnessed this. I'm not that kind of witness. I believe I'm a witness who's come to set the stage to advise this committee on what informed His Excellency the President to impanel or indeed request the August House or Parliament to go into this inquiry that your committee is doing from this morning. I believe that's the purpose that I am here. And if that is my understanding, Honorable Chairperson and members, with your permission, I may not have to go word for word in what I said, but with your permission, I may have to go and summarize my findings and what informed my findings to advise His Excellency the President on the way forward, whether or not to reopen the inquiry into the plane crash which killed the former Vice President, late Right Honourable Saulos Klaus Chilima, and 8 others at Ntungwa in Chikangawa on 10th June 2024. Let me confirm to this committee, Honourable Chairperson and Honourable members, that I reviewed the 3 main reports into the crash which happened on the 10th June 2024. Let me also, at the outset, mention the fact that I was informed when I was reviewing the 3 reports that there were other reports and other documentation or material which were not made available to me. For example, I can cite 2 of the materials that I was informed. I was informed that there was a report which was confidential by the MDF board. I was also informed that there was another report by the Civil Aviation. Let me state to this committee, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members, that these 2 reports were not made privy to me. I was also made aware when I was going through the report of the Commission of the Enquiry set up by the former President, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera. In that report, I read that the witnesses who testified, some of them brought other materials. Those materials, I'm not privy to them. So my findings and my analysis concentrated on 3 reports, and these reports are, number 1, the interim report issued by what was called the BFU. BFU is a German organization called Bundesstelle für Flugverramtechtung. That's German. Let me say that I'm not very good in German, so my pronunciation may not be the best pronunciation. Therefore, I'll just refer it to as the BFU. But let me say that I speak a little bit of German. The second report, Honorable Chairperson, was the report of the Commission of Enquiry, Presidential Commission of Enquiry, set up by His Excellency, the former President, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera. I also reviewed that report extensively. Finally, Honorable Chair, I also did review the final report of the BFU. For purposes of factual background, I thought necessary, Chairperson, that I should give a little bit of a detail from the report of the BFU for factual consistency, because the facts that come in the interim BFU report will almost be the same that informed all the 3 reports: the interim report of the BFU, the report of the Commission of Enquiry, and the final report of the BFU. Let me also say that if you go to the report of the Commission of Enquiry, apart from the facts of the flight and the technical aspects, the Commission of Enquiry set up by the former president also looked at other witnesses on the ground, both at Kia and at Muzuzu Airport, which was the destination of that fateful flight. But as I said earlier on, Honorable Chairperson, I thought that it would be important for this committee to understand what informed my findings, to have a little bit of detail of what factual background was contained in the BFU report in terms of how the flight started, how it was prepared, up to the time of the quote-unquote the crash at around the 16 minutes past 10 on 10th June 2024. I thought those facts are very important so that we can link those facts to the Commission of Enquiry report as well as to the final report to understand what informed my opinion on those three reports. With your permission, Honorable Chair, if that methodology for this morning is correct or is acceptable, I'm prepared to give a detail of some background that was contained in the interim report. With your permission, Chair.
Honorable Minister, we can proceed on that basis.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the facts that came from the BFU interim report that this committee may wish to have in detail are as follows. 1. The interim report by the BFU was a very brief report. It had only 19 pages. And these 19 pages included the abstract, the factual information, personal information of the pilots, the aircraft information, meteorological information, Malawi airspace structure, radio communications, flight recorder, wreckage, and impact information. It also had a little bit of aspects on the survival aspects and safety, and made safety recommendations in the appendix of the report. My reading of the BFU report interim showed that the BFU relied on the testimonies of the flight information officer at Muzuzu Airport and the controller at Kamuzu International Airport in Lilongwe. The BFU also used its own analysis of the GPS data, which was tracking the aircraft, to come up with its interim report. Let me mention that I'm referring to the GPS data as being the analysis deliberately. Why? Because as you will see or hear later on in the report, the aircraft did not have, according to the BF report, certain technical components that could track the aircraft in terms of the radar, cockpit voice recorder. Those things didn't have, the aircraft didn't have, according to the BFU report. Therefore, the BFU relied on the GPS data to track the aircraft from Kia to the point of impact at 16 minutes past 10 hours on the 10th June 2024. Honorable Chairperson and members, as regards the aircraft information, the BFU interim report simply stated that the airplane had a certificate of registration by the Republic of Malawi and was operated by the Malawi Air Force. You can see that at page number 7 of the interim report. Let me say, Honorable Chair, that earlier on, your committee had requested me to finish to your committee the 3 reports, which I did. I hope your committee has had a look at these 3 reports. However, I have my raw reports with my notes here with me. But these ones contain my handwritten notes when I was reviewing those reports. But the clean ones I handed over to the committee much earlier. The interim report did not include the aspects of airworthiness of the aircraft. However, using the GPS data analysis, the BFU interim report gave a detailed history of the flight on the fateful day especially after departing Kamuzu International Airport. The BFO reported noted and recorded that the aircraft took off at 09:16 hours, 16 minutes past 9 in the morning, and it took off from runway number 14 at Kia. I want the committee to note the departure time, 16 minutes past 9 in the morning on 10th June 2024, and it departed from runway number 14. The BFU did not indicate the estimated time of arrival at the destination aerodrome at Muzuzu. However, it stated that at 17 minutes past 9, the aircraft began a left-hand turn, and 2 minutes later, the aircraft ended in a northern direction turn. That was within a minute or two of its departure. According to the controller at Kia, the flight crew received clearance for communication to FL90, but later the flight crew requested to maintain 7,000 feet AMSL. These are technical terms meaning the height above sea level. The GPS data showed that at 23 minutes past 9, the plane reached a cruising level of about 7,300 feet above sea level. It had been cleared to cruise at 7,000 feet above sea level, but at 23 minutes past 9, it reached 7,300 feet above the sea level. Those heights are very important later on as to what the plane will be doing. So please, members of the committee, take note of the heights. The flight crew informed the controller that they would reach reporting NASA at 9:23. That's where now they say we are now level, we are now going straight. They call it reporting NASA in their technical. And the airport of destination approximately at 5 minutes past 10. So they were reporting that once they reach reporting NASA at 9:32, they would reach the destination airport, the aerodrome at Muzuzu, at 5 minutes past 10 in the morning on that morning. According to the GPS data, the airplane was flying north, and at 9:32 hours, it was 3 nautical miles west of West Point, NASA, at about 7,500 feet above sea level. 7,500 feet above sea level. At 9:37 hours, the airplane began to climb, and within 3 minutes, it reached about 8,600 feet above sea level. At about 9:44 hours, the airplane entered descent. At 9:50 hours, at about 1.5 nautical miles northwest of the village Fumbawowa, somewhere in Mzimba, Fumbawowa village, it began to deviate. It began to deviate from the direct course to the airport of destination by entering a left-hand turn. So the airport was leaving the normal course that it was supposed to take, and it went to the left at around the village of Fumbawowa in Mzimba. At 9:52 hours, during the left-hand turn, at about 5,500 feet above sea level, So you can actually see that now it's descending from around 8,600, it's now around 5,500 feet. The airplane.
Zachitika kuti? Zachitika nthawi zanji? Kodi nanga amene wapanga ndani? Musakhale nawo gulu lovutika ndi mphekesera ayi. Tapangani subscribe ku Malawi Daily Headlines lero kuti zochitika mdziko mwanu momwe zisamakuphonyeni.